My first response to the trip when I first heard about it was, is Brian out of his mind?
I remember sitting in the meetings ahead of time, and it was kind of daunting just hearing about all of the labor. You have to carry your own clothes. You have to carry your own food. You never have enough food.
Mosquitoes the size of small birds.
I was kind of scared because I knew there was going to be a lot of stuff in the water, and I'm not very aquatic, so I was a little bit nervous about that.
You know, you can't shower.
I like the outdoors, but the outdoors does not like me.
That was my mom's response, and I knew that I had to come back down from just my initial gut response and hear more about what the intention was for the trip. But that was my first response.
For me, what I hoped for in this first trip, the one that Ethan went on, was that he could, that he would be faced with some things that were outside of his comfort zone.
I mean, I remember the first night that I got there, and we were at the campground. Like, we hadn't even left the place. Like, we had all the bathrooms and stuff, and I got there and we were struggling to make a fire, and we didn't have any food. And I just remember going back to my tent and being like, oh no, I signed up for a week of this, and I can't even do the first night.
The first day was definitely really tough. It's a lot of work as you're canoeing and walking and then picking up your canoe and throwing it on your backpack, which feels like it weighs a couple 100 pounds.
I don't think I've been so mentally and physically strained at the same time in my life before.
For me personally, when I went, it was huge because I didn't even recognize some of the areas that I needed to grow in until I was out there and kind of exposed and stripped away from all these other distractions, when I really had to ask myself the questions of what am I doing to grow spiritually every day? How does that look like in my life, and what does that look like out here?
It was there on that trip that I realized that I wasn't living for Christ, and my faith, I hadn't made it my own, and it was there in the peacefulness of nature and the water that I decided to rededicate my life to Him. And I think that scene, the scenery and the place was exactly where God wanted me to be.
The meaning that I drew from it was that God was able to sustain me and take me through something new, something difficult, something I wasn't comfortable with, definitely something I was not comfortable with. At least the idea of it, I was definitely not comfortable with at first. But it turned out to be a wonderful time, and a meaningful time, and a hard time, but in the end, a time I was glad I was there.
It seems almost on a weekly basis, we're still talking about that time we went to Canada.
If you're a girl and you don't want to go because you're a girl, I think that, being uncomfortable, all the guys are going to be uncomfortable, just like you're going to be uncomfortable, and but then you also learn how God helps you through it, and anybody can learn that, girl or guy. So
It was great to hear them express out loud kind of the process they went through mentally and spiritually as they came to see God work in their lives and with each other. And I think they learned to celebrate the successes of their peers and to come alongside them in their struggle. And just a great growth that you really couldn't incubate in a home. So I think it was hugely valuable.
I would say to the parents of these kids, if you're reluctant about them going, I understand. But you need to know that it is an opportunity for them to connect with God in an amazing way and to connect with fellow believers in an amazing way. If you're willing, you should do this. You should let your kids go because they'll come back changed.